Life's too short to drive boring cars. In this mass sea of automobiles, it's hard to distinguish good, bad from ugly. A lot of the car magazines talk about how good the car is, but when you actually drive it after 5 years, you realize it's garbage. So you probably want to cut right to the chase. Find out a car that's going to last 300,000 miles because, hey, maybe your wife, your daughter, your grandmother might want to drive a car that's going to last forever, and you can give them some great advice. So I'm going to share a list with you guys of 10 vehicles that will survive 300,000 miles if you look after them. Let's get into it now. So right there, we have the first one. It's the Lexus ES. This is an ES 250, 4-cylinder in there. Makes about almost 200 horsepower. These have all kinds of great little styling accents. Some people love the grille on the Lexus, some people don't, but it is trademark. You've got the wonderful LED lights on these modern ES models. Some great chrome accents. They've also got the LC500 style mirrors. There's great little chrome accent there. Sunroof, of course, it is a luxury car. Soft touch handles. Alloy wheels, of course. They've got this beautiful little chrome accents here. Absolute gorgeous leather interior, lots of room in the back, and a high quality interior on the front. The latest infotainment system, and just is a luxurious place to reside. Beauty is these cars are not all that expensive either. So you get these great vehicles. Awesome little trademark taillights, chrome accent of black along the bottom. You've got further chrome along the bottom as well there. Overall presence that is still a very, very attractive car. These vehicles also come in all-wheel drive, so you feel comfortable driving in the winter. It can tackle anything the seasons can throw at you. Guaranteed, because it is a Toyota-based product, you can drive this guiltlessly because it will last the test of time. Guaranteed, will make over 300,000 miles if you do your standard servicing. Personally, I would recommend the V6 with 311 horsepower. That would be the ES350. That is actually the setup to go with. But either way, the ES series of Lexus is a great car. So the next car on my list I would actually recommend to my grandmother just so I could borrow it every other Saturday night. And that's the Toyota Camry XSE model. Now the Camry's always a blaze of reliability. I mean, let's face it, this is very closely removed from the Lexus models, and these cars are known for their reliability. Nothing short of perfection, and with a little bit of maintenance care, these cars can run 300,000 to 500,000 miles all day long. Now what we have here is an XSE. This is the car to have. You've got nice little splitter at the bottom. You've got quad exhaust tips, beautiful tail lights, of course little accents here, and you've got his great little wing to show a little sporting intention because this is the XSE. You've got these wonderful alloy wheels, and this massive glass coverage on top gives you lots of light. And of course, because they're part of Lexus, they also have upscale parts like this. Look at the mirror with this wonderful little chrome accent. Headlights, of course, LED, why not? And this is the TRD, so this is the one you want to have. Beautiful car through and through. Pretty to look at, great to drive because it's got the V6 engine that makes 301 horsepower. And this, in fact, is the car you want to get because there is a base model 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. That's probably best to skip and maybe let someone else buy that one because this is the one you want. So these cars are chock full of luxury. They don't just look great, but they feel great too. I mean, look inside, look at that leather interior, absolutely gorgeous. And you've got that wonderful integrated infotainment screen. Everything just has a nice wraparound high quality feel to it, just like Lexus. So sure, there might have been a time when the Toyota Camry was kind of the old folks car, but no longer is that the case. Now they're building sporty models like this. They've always been reliable, and you can never really go wrong with a Toyota Camry because they will guaranteed outlive any one of us. And another great vehicle, and it's actually quite sporty, is the Mazda MX-5, or the old Mazda Miata. Will likely go over 300,000 miles just because of its basic simplicity and lack of high output. I've always had a personal soft spot here for these cars. Why? Once years ago, I drove a base Miata. It didn't have anything powerful, the engine was stock, but the suspension was sport tuned and ready for the track. They had aggressive camber and race tires. I'll tell you, that thing was the most insane car I have ever driven in the corners. I've never driven anything that exciting. And the beauty is they're so reliable because they're so basic. And here's why. I mean, you just look at it. It's a very simplistic car. Attractive, yes. Sporty, check. And it's even stylish. Look at these updated headlights. Very, very exciting. Aggressive front valence. An overall very basic style with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that makes about 180 horsepower. It's by no means going to win any straight line races. What it will do though is, however, deliver you years and years and years and hundreds of thousands of miles of motoring excitement. You can still roll your own gears, and it's the relatively modest power output with a basic gearbox and a relatively average level of technology makes this simplistic vehicle a real down-to-earth motoring opportunity. The Mazda Miata and MX-5 guaranteed to run over 300,000 miles. The next vehicle on my list is actually a luxury SUV. That's right. It's not a BMW, it's not a Mercedes or an Audi because those likely will not last over 300,000 miles. But Toyota does something a little bit different, and therefore their upscale brand Lexus definitely hits the mark with reliability right here. Here we have the RX350. This has the V6 3.5 liter engine, makes 311 horsepower tucked under that hood. It's just enough to propel this vehicle nicely down the road. It has your standard conventional grille known by Lexus. Some love, some hate, but you got these interesting headlight assembly there, and of course it's a Lexus. They're always bold styling in recent years makes it very attractive in many ways. Here we got the gunmetal gray alloy wheels, very pretty, and of course here we've got these awesome mirrors that are being adopted across the lineup. Sunroof? You betcha. Soft touch door handles? You bet. And an interior that makes even the best vehicles from Mercedes blush because they're finely built. The RX350 is one that's difficult to hate because it answers all of your luxury questions and does it with such styling and reliability. The Lexus brand is guaranteed to run 300,000 plus miles if you take care of it. And with cool accents like the tailpipes, you've got these wonderful edges here with chrome there and piano gloss black there, and sharp muscular looking haunches with great taillights. And an overly attractive stance makes this vehicle popular for your wallet and as well popular at the country club. You can't go wrong with the Lexus RX350. So the next car on my list that will likely last till the second coming of Christ is this, the Honda Civic. They're so good, in fact, I bought my daughter one just like this. It's a white Civic, four-door sedan. They're beautiful, they last forever, largely because of their simplicity. Now, there's a couple of different engine configurations. You can either get the base 4-cylinder engine, 2-liter displacement, that'll make 158 horsepower, or you can get this beauty here. You get the Sport Touring here, which has 180 horsepower, 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. Now, this one's all decked out. You've got all kinds of little ground effects there that give it the sporty look. You've got the double center mounted exhaust system, you've got wings, and you've got more wings. How about this stylish little lighting effect? Beautiful all black polished alloy wheels, and an interior that is as good as anything, even $10,000, $20,000 ahead of, and a front end that looks very, very sporty. I mean, look, LED lights and a front valence that looks as sporty as anything else out there. Now, we can't forget it also has a sunroof. So the only weakness on the car is that they run a CVT transmission. Historically, not the best tranny, but you can also get a 6-speed manual, and that's where you want to be for the lively driving experience. So either way, these cars are likely designed to last forever, and they'll outlast me in the process. The next vehicle on my list that I can truly recommend is the vehicle parked behind me, and my brother-in-law actually had one numerous years ago, and he ran the wheels off it. It just kept going and going and going and going. It started to rust, but it didn't stop it, and they were ruthless, and that's the Toyota 4Runner. As we have back here is a new version. Now, these new ones have an engine that's a little better than the older original 3-liter V6s that had head gasket issues. Either way, they ran forever. These new ones have a 4-liter V6, make about 270 horsepower, tucked way underneath that hood there. So they make a decent enough power to move this thing along the road. They're not fast, they're not performance machines, but they certainly are workhorses and will run for the test of time. But look at this. This is a TRD version, and even down there you've got guards for the suspension. You've got a very simplistic body design, and you'll notice it has a great ride height, so it can clear trees, brush, because this is an off-road version of this, as shown by this right here. We have the TRD Off-Road Edition. Now, this one comes with racks. This is a little extra add-ons, and as the Nightshade Edition also has the painted black 4Runner logo right there. Now, these come standard with a five-passenger seating arrangement, but these upper scale versions are actually a 7-passenger vehicle, making them very practical, reliable, and they will run as long as you possibly can. All you got to do is change the oil, change the brakes, and keep on trucking. And I actually did a full review on the Nightshade Edition, which is the upper scale version of the 4Runner. I did it a couple of years ago, so please be sure to check my library on my channel if you want to see more. And so the next car that will likely last beyond the second coming is the Honda Accord. Now, these are absolutely great, and Honda Accords have had a reputation for durability, reliability, and fun family motoring for years. They used to come with manual gearboxes. That's gone now for 2021. And now you can either get a CVT, which is not the optimal way to go, but instead you can get yourself a 10-speed automatic transmission, specifically to the Accord 2-liter Turbo Touring. Now, these cars are beautiful this year. I mean, you've got these beautiful exhaust tips that look a lot like a Mercedes-Benz, very Honda-ish taillights. LED strip lights on the mirrors, and of course, beautiful LED headlights, new for this year. And if you look at the whole exterior of the car, it definitely has a sporting look to it as well. You've got this spoiler on the front end, some very interesting chrome accents, alloy wheels, sunroof on top, and yes, they've got the soft touches as well. But let's not forget about the high quality looking interior. At this price point, almost unbeatable. Yes, 8-inch infotainment screen, and it also has a heads-up display. Now these cars come in a couple of different engine configurations. A base 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine makes about 192 horsepower. And you can also get a turbo 4-cylinder that makes about 252 horse. And yes, you can spin the wheels with this thing out of first gear because it is actually quite peppy. So that would be the choice I'd go with. 10-speed, sport, and the 250 horsepower version makes it a lively experience. So I just can't praise it enough. Honda Accord, full of amenities, full of luxury, but still practical enough and affordable for the growing family. The Honda Accord will last forever. Now the next vehicle on my list that will likely last forever, it's not one of these or one of these. GM, yeah, it'll run a lot of miles, but things will start falling apart and it'll get to the point where you just get annoyed and want to get rid of it because it just gets all loose and rattly. Same thing goes with the Dodge, a little finicky stuff. Electrics start going out, it starts just letting you down. Even though the engine will run a long time, there's lots of other nitpickety things. But if you want simplicity, my choice is the Toyota Tacoma. That's the choice for the vehicle that will likely go forever and cause you almost little to no grief. These vehicles go way back. Toyota's been making these smaller compact trucks for years. They've always been popular. Go back to the 80s and 90s. They've been popular there and they continue to be popular. Why? They're not fancy. They're not decked out with all the luxury, but what they are decked out with is dependability and durability. Now this one here, we have a TRD 4x4. Off-road edition. So they're all tuned a little bit different. Suspension wheels are packaged up a little different in the TRD models, but these vehicles really aren't about all the bling. Does it matter that they've got these fancy headlights? Does it even matter about this grille? No, it's all basic utilitarian. These are jacked up, well-made, durable, and simplistic vehicles made for off-roading. With that, however, I would not get the 4-cylinder base engine. I would get the V6 with the manual 6-speed gearbox. Don't get the 6-speed auto. It doesn't work all that well. Get the manual if you can ante up to it. That's the combo you want. V6 manual, TRD. This is a great vehicle through and through. And is really one of the few pickup trucks I can really recommend if you want something that's going to run the test of time. So let's bring a little performance into the discussion. Who would have ever thought a Porsche 911 would ever make a list of cars that would make over 300,000 miles? But guess what? There's actually a car out there right now with 590,000 miles, and it's a 911 turbo. It's not this one. This was my old car. This is a Porsche 930, 1981, 3.3 liter air-cooled flat 6 turbo. And yes, it doesn't have that many miles. But this, in fact, is my old car. I sold it to a current owner who's a very, very happy man now that he's picked this up for me. I bought this before the Lamborghini, but it's not this model. It's actually the 2001 911 Turbo 996, which actually puts down the numbers for reliability. So instead of having the air-cooled engine like this one has, it still uses a similar split-case flat 6 engine, Metzger engine they call it, originally from the GT1 race car. The 996 Turbo also has a 6-speed manual gearbox associated with it, has all-wheel drive instead of this rear-wheel drive. It has intercooler, 2 turbos, and 420 horsepower pumping out of the engine on this the rear engine car called the 996 Turbo. Now, interestingly enough, the car hasn't caught on up until the last couple of years. People haven't really loved it, primarily because of these style of headlights. The 996 Turbo has this kidney style headlight, and nobody was loving this. The enthusiasts were hating when Porsche did this change. They just scoffed at that. They wanted to see a conventional round headlight because in fact it was a 911, but this is why the prices stayed low. But interestingly enough, in the last couple of years, people have been catching on. They notice these cars can take well to heavy modifications. They know they run really, really long time in stock configuration. And if you maintain the gearbox, which has a little bit soft synchronizers in it, you can get that car to run a huge amount of miles reliably, and it can seriously last the test of time. The Porsche 2001 996 Twin Turbo. And the 10th car on my list for vehicles that will likely make it over 300,000 miles is these wonderful, brand new, check it out, Lexus IS cars. Here, this happens to be the latest, 2021, absolute gorgeous, with this new revised grille. It's got these wonderful new headlights. You've got that little check, obviously LED lights there, further accents at the bottom. You can see the profile is very aggressive. You've also got fender flares. Look at that flare there. And look at the back. You've also got further flaring in the back there, and the LC500 mirrors. These cars have soft touch door handles, sunroofs, chrome accents as well. And oh my goodness, what beautiful gunmetal gray rims. How about the new revised taillight assembly? Look at that, it's also got the rear light bar across the back and the piano gloss black rear valance with 1 and 2 dual exhaust system on there. Of course, this car here also has this wonderful little lip on the trunk lid to give it that sporting touch. And because it's an F-Sport IS350 all-wheel drive, this car has the 3.5 liter V6 naturally aspirated, makes about 311 horsepower, and is just quick enough to liven up your day. But you can actually have your cake and eat it too, enjoy the performance and the reliability all in one package. Look, even some of these extra styling accents down there. Wonderful little lines. How about that crease that goes up the back to extend to the flare? Beautiful car. And the interior is also a thing to behold with the lipstick red interior and the updated infotainment controls. You still see many vehicles like this on the road, the older ISs that just keep going on and on and on. Probably close to 2% of all IS models have exceeded 300,000 miles across the world. A lot of them haven't even hit that yet, but a lot of them certainly make those kind of miles. And I hope you enjoyed all of that, guys. If you want to see more about this car, I actually just did a review on the exact same vehicle, the F-Sport IS350. Be sure to check on that video link. That's going to take you right to there. You're definitely going to want to check out that review. It's an amazing machine, trust me. I'll tell you that. Hope to see you guys soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.